The concept of a capital city is traditionally intertwined with the idea of absolute centralization. In the conventional nation-state model, a single city serves as the undisputed beating heart of a country, housing the executive, legislative, and judicial branches of government alongside foreign embassies and national monuments. This singular metropolis is designed to be the ultimate symbol of national identity and political authority. However, a closer examination of the global political map reveals a fascinating anomaly. Several nations have chosen to fracture this centralized power, distributing the functions of their government across 2 or even 3 distinct cities. While at first glance this might appear to be a recipe for administrative chaos or logistical inefficiency, the decision to maintain multiple capital cities is rarely an accident. Instead, it is almost always a deliberate, highly calculated strategy rooted in deep historical conflicts, geographical divides, or the urgent need to balance delicate ethnic and cultural dynamics. For these nations, a decentralized capital is not a flaw in governance but a geographic manifestation of compromise, serving as a vital mechanism for preserving national unity. The most prominent and intricate example of this phenomenon is South Africa, a nation famously governed from 3 separate capital cities. The executive branch resides in Pretoria, the legislative branch operates out of Cape Town, and the judicial branch is seated in Bloemfontein. The origins of this unique trifecta trace back to the formation of the Union of South Africa in 1910. Following years of bitter and bloody conflict between the British Empire and the independent Boer republics, the newly forged nation faced an immediate crisis, deciding where the seat of power should be located. The rival factions were deeply suspicious of one another, and no single region was willing to concede total political dominance to a rival city. To avoid an impasse that could have shattered the fragile union before it even began, a grand compromise was struck. By dividing the 3 pillars of government and placing them in different provinces, the founders of modern South Africa ensured that no single group or territory could monopolize the state apparatus. Thus, the 3 capitals of South Africa stand not merely as administrative centers, but as enduring monuments to a difficult peace and the sheer necessity of power sharing in a deeply divided land. A similar dynamic of regional rivalry and shifting power dictates the dual capital system of Bolivia, though driven more by economic transformation than colonial reconciliation. High in the Andes, Bolivia splits its governmental duties between Sucre and La Paz. Sucre is recognized as the constitutional capital and remains the seat of the national judiciary. It is the city where the nation's independence was declared, holding immense historical prestige and representing the old colonial elite whose wealth was tied to the silver mines of the region. However, as the 19th century progressed, the global economy shifted, and Bolivia's lucrative silver industry began to decline, swiftly replaced by the booming tin mining sector centered around La Paz. As economic power gravitated toward La Paz, political power inevitably followed. Following a brief but intense civil war at the end of the 19th century, a compromise was forged out of the ashes of conflict. The executive and legislative branches were relocated to La Paz, making it the de facto administrative capital, while Sucre retained its constitutional title and judicial authority to appease the historical establishment. This geographic split perfectly illustrates how multiple capitals often emerge when a nation experiences a seismic shift in its economic center of gravity, yet cannot afford to completely alienate its traditional foundations. Not all dual capital systems are born from the ashes of civil war or acute political crises. Some evolve organically through centuries of statecraft and the pragmatic separation of state functions. The Netherlands provides a classic European example of this gentle, historical bifurcation. Amsterdam is globally recognized as the capital city, a prestigious status explicitly enshrined in the Dutch constitution. It serves as the vibrant cultural and commercial heartbeat of the nation, as well as the ceremonial site where the monarch is officially sworn in. Yet, the actual daily machinery of the Dutch state operates roughly 40 miles away in The Hague. It is The Hague that houses the national parliament, the Supreme Court, the Prime Minister's office, and all foreign embassies. This enduring arrangement stems from the complex legacy of the Dutch Republic, where political leaders intentionally kept the seat of government separate from the immense wealth and influence of Amsterdam's merchant class. The goal was to prevent commercial and financial interests from completely dictating national policy. Today, this separation is a harmonious and highly functional tradition, allowing Amsterdam to flourish as a global cultural metropolis while The Hague quietly and efficiently serves as the administrative anchor of the country. In other instances, the division of a capital's duties is a much more modern intervention, deliberately engineered to physically decentralize political power and stimulate regional development. Chile presents a compelling case study of this intentional separation. For most of its history, Santiago was the absolute epicenter of Chilean life, holding a firm monopoly on the executive, legislative, and judicial branches. However, in the late 20th century, a monumental decision was made to relocate the National Congress to the coastal city of Valparaiso, located approximately 70 miles from Santiago. The move was ostensibly designed to decentralize a highly concentrated state apparatus that had historically ignored the provinces, and to invigorate the economy of the historic port city. While the executive branch and the judiciary remained entrenched in Santiago, the daily legislative debates and the creation of laws were uprooted to the coast. This physical distance between the president's palace and the parliament fundamentally alters the rhythm of governance, forcing a literal and metaphorical journey between the executive proposal of policies and their legislative approval. Though the logistical challenges and financial costs of this separation are frequently debated by Chilean politicians today, it stands as a bold testament to the idea that breaking the geographic monopoly of a single dominant city can be utilized as a tool for national restructuring. Beyond historical legacies and political decentralization, the crushing pressures of modern urbanization have birthed an entirely new category of dual capitals: the separation of the official state symbol from the bureaucratic engine room. As traditional capital cities become increasingly paralyzed by rapid population growth, severe traffic congestion, and infrastructural strain, several nations have opted to build entirely new administrative centers while retaining the historical capital for its ceremonial prestige. Malaysia exemplifies this highly pragmatic approach to modern governance. Kuala Lumpur proudly remains the official national capital, the royal seat of the monarch, and the home of the primary legislative bodies. It is the bustling, cosmopolitan face of Malaysia recognized around the world. Yet, to alleviate the suffocating gridlock choking Kuala Lumpur in the late 1990s, the government constructed Putrajaya, a meticulously planned, high-tech city situated just to the south. Putrajaya now serves as the federal administrative center, housing the Prime Minister's complex and the vast majority of government ministries. By carefully siphoning the dense bureaucratic workforce out of the primary metropolis, Malaysia managed to preserve the historical and commercial vibrancy of Kuala Lumpur while creating a highly efficient, purpose-built environment specifically optimized for the daily administration of the state. Furthermore, the phenomenon of multiple capitals often arises in post-colonial nations attempting to forge a new national identity while grappling with the entrenched realities of their colonial past. In many of these countries, the original capital was established by foreign powers on the coast to facilitate the export of resources and maritime trade, leaving the deep interior marginalized. To rectify this historical imbalance, some governments have declared new, centrally located capitals, yet find themselves unable to fully detach from the established infrastructure of the old city, resulting in a prolonged state of dual governance. Côte d'Ivoire presents a striking example of this aspirational division. In 1983, the country's founding president officially moved the political and administrative capital to Yamoussoukro, a city situated in the geographic center of the nation. The vision was to stimulate development in the heartland and construct a grand, modern metropolis that reflected an independent African identity. However, decades later, the sprawling coastal city of Abidjan remains the undisputed economic engine of the country, housing the vast majority of foreign embassies, international businesses, and de facto government operations. The result is a nation with a symbolic, monumental capital in the interior and a pragmatic, working capital on the coast, illustrating how the immense cost and logistical inertia of relocating a government can create a permanent duality between a nation's visionary ambitions and its daily realities.